Hey folks, I'm gonna do a little more on the advent of code. I have to apologize. I was coding a little before I got on the stream, and I got a little carried away. I didn't get very far, but I did take a bit of liberty on the project. I wanted to get it into Git. And I wanted to start taking more of a TDD style approach to it, because it's the thing that I'm used to. And I thought, hey, let's just try to fly along and do things. And I ended up staring at the screen, wondering an awful lot on the last stream. And I don't like staring at the screen wondering. It makes me feel like I don't know what's going on. And my test suite helps me, well, normally helps me keep that under control. So as you can see here, I've started to do some things in the test suite already. I'm just going to switch my camera view over here and be able to pull up a console so that people can still actually see me. I've got the runner set up in my test suite and a couple of tests in play. The second one, the 2s, should not be passing. I started in on day 2 of the advent of code. I am not going to be able to do 2 a day. I don't think this is going to work, but we'll see. I think I don't know. We'll see how it goes. At the very least, it's going to be fun for the remaining time I've got. And we'll see what happens when they, after Christmas, what they do with the site. I've not used this before, and I'm kind of curious to see how it's all handled. And at the very least, I'm looking forward to next year. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I can get some other folks involved with it too. This stuff is always way more fun when people do it together. So, okay. So on day 2, we are working through an inventory management system. Wow. So, yeah, there's a little bit of story continuation here about falling through time, landing in a utility closet, basically landing in a, let's see, how does it happen? Oh, something about Santa's suit. And looking for extra material for Santa's suit in the warehouse. And so we're looking for box IDs in the warehouse that follow a certain pattern. So we're going to write some code to search the warehouse for 2 similar box IDs. And so we have our plan to help here. So what I'm looking for initially is, because I think this is another 1-part, 2-part thing. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm assuming it is. Perhaps it's not. Scan the likely candidate boxes, counting the number that have an ID containing exactly 2 of any letter, and separately counting those with exactly 3 of any letter, and then multiply those 2 counts together to get some kind of rudimentary checksum. So, sounds cool. The sample data set of all of the box IDs is here, and I have copied that into a data file in my project here. So these are all the box IDs. There's some 250 of them. And so I started working this through. I've been using my favorite tool. Oh, hey there. Good to see you tonight. So my favorite testing tool in JavaScript land. And, you know, I was reminded we call this thing JavaScript all the time, but the roots of this language are pretty much out there. And I think I bet far more history about this than I do. And whenever I hear ECMAScript, JavaScript, I know that folks are a little bit confused by the histories there and some of the process around how the language comes about. And yeah. Anyways, I've really come to enjoy it as a language, mostly because of its availability places. So I'm really excited kind of for the future of where this stuff is going. And I don't know, one day on one of these streams I'll be probably playing with WebAssembly in some interesting path, but that is not tonight. So I've got a test written around. So this algorithm for the box IDs, they look all pretty funky. I thought I might take an approach where, and you see the examples, right? This contains no letters that appear 2 or 3 times. This contains 2 A's and 3 B's, so it counts for both. So we can do a checksum there. I suppose otherwise the checksum is 0, huh? I'm guessing. I suppose I should probably read this a little bit more closely. I got zoomed right in on counting the number of characters and figure out which IDs have 2 of a character and which IDs have 3 of a character. And so, because all I really want is, once I've identified the 2 sets of those that contain 2 of something and those that contain 3 of something, I'm set to do this checksum. And so I kind of started bottom up, right? I started here with looking at, how do I want to treat this thing? And you can see I even started back with a main function. Reading the array of data, and then splitting those strings and I don't know why, but just sorting. Somehow that felt like a thing to do. And then I realized I had to figure out, what are all the unique characters in a string so that I could go and count each of their occurrences. I may be doing too much work here, but we'll see. And my unique function basically uses a reducer, and you can see if I've got a test around it here where, if I give it an array of A, B, B, C, then the unique values in that array are A, B, and C. And I'm used to other languages like Ruby and stuff where there's, like in Ruby, an array, there's a unique method, UNIQ. And I didn't see an analog in the JavaScript, so I thought, hey, I'll just make one. So that's effectively what this is, where I start with an empty array, and then anything that includes, or if that empty array does not include the character that I'm scanning across, then push the character onto the array. Otherwise, the array stays as is. So that's a pretty simple reducer function. So from any array of characters, I can get back the unique set. And there's probably other things I could have done there, right? Maybe it was a one-liner with the set class or something. I don't know. You get caught into the patterns of the way of the things you've used in the past, right? Sometimes it's hard to step into new things. So I ended up not stepping into a new thing here, and well, whatever. I have a passing test, so I could refactor it that way later. But for now, I'm going to push forward. So the second thing that I was going to try and do is try to work through this thing to say, I just need something to scan an array of characters to identify if it has 2 of something in it. And I thought, well, let's see if I can test drive that out, anything that has nothing in it. So I should expect, so if my data is, well, I don't have to do that. So if I would expect that, I don't know what to call this yet, 2's of nothing to be false, and then I'm going to need a function 2's, and it's going to have to take an argument, but really initially I suppose I can do the degenerate form of the test. And so now I'm going to try and do something a little bit more interesting. It's going to be hard to take a step forward that's small, you know. I think right off the bat I've already sort of pushed myself into passing an argument. Let's see if I can work through the algorithm. Wow, I probably should do a little bit more. I could be a little less verbose there, perhaps. So I would expect that 2's of A and A, you know, that ought to be true, and that's not going to be able to pass. Sorry, I'm pretty quick with that. I suppose if I were smart, I'd probably pull up the console and just run this beside it in the console. I usually, if I were on Linux or the Mac, I would use watch and do this. I like to keep the tests running in the background, but I haven't figured out all the things that I like to do in Windows land on keeping the tests going while I code, rather than interrupting myself every once in a while to slip over here and actually execute them. I suppose too, I might be able to just add the ability to run it in here, and this is, I must admit, where WebStorm is more my refactoring tool than it is my IDE, if you will. So if I set up a run session and I say I want to run something through Mocha, and it's got some recognition of what's going on here, and I don't need any of that. Sure, we'll leave that. Test in 2. Actually, let's go file patterns. All the JavaScript files in 2. What does this do for us? Nothing? Oh, I modified the template. Oh my goodness. I do this every time in the IntelliJ tooling. I modify the template instead of actually building a run configuration. Hey, look, it's all the things I wanted. I'll fix that template later. Okay, let's, hang on, did that have an error? Unspecified Mocha package. Okay, I have to specify it, do I? Huh. All right. Well, maybe this will give me a quicker way to evaluate my tests, and Shift F10 is going to do the execution for me. All right, and on that little piece of diversion, I am back moving forward. So, of course, that can't be true and false at the same time. What is the simplest way that I could do this? Well, I'm probably going to want to I mean, I could do this with a couple of loops, right? I could say has twos, or has two. Initialize that to false. I suppose. I could have done that two ways, right? That was an interesting thing. If I do an extract variable, I could just say that. Could have done less typing. So if I say, so I have one array, and if I walk across it, then I have the what do they call it? IDs. And for each of the IDs, I've got, for each of the unique characters in the ID, and already here, the ID is an array of characters. So for any of the unique characters in the ID, I'm going to walk across those. And now I've got to I'm going to have to remember as I step across each of them. And how do I want to do that? I suppose these are things that could be in a map. And let's just see how this plays out here. And if well, let's initialize the map entry if it doesn't exist first. If map, how do we use map here? Yeah, get for a key. So if I get the entry for the character, and that is, what would that be, undefined? What we have to do, actually, you know what, there's probably a better helper method there for me. Let me do a quick check to see what, I was also inspired. I was watching, I think we'll do in Visual Studio Code, right? Just getting the help docs like right inside. I haven't tried to do that kind of thing here. Yeah, that's not what I'm hoping for. My default go-to is I just search MDN for it. There might be a smarter thing I could use. Give me a little bit of documentation. I just don't know what that is, so I'm already here. No, wait. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Okay. Array has... No, I'm not looking for array. MDN map. Map has... Okay, it doesn't have a test. Oh, has. Yes, it does. So I can determine if it has that key. So if the map does not have the key, then the map put, is there, what's the opposite to get? Set. So I shall set the key to, well, I suppose, well, let's make it 0. Let's initialize our count at 0, and then I can say that I would like the map, I would like to set the map of C to the get of C plus 1. I'm going to increment, and this map will then contain all the counts for each of the characters. And then I suppose I'm looking across the values of the map to see if at the end of this the map has any values that are 2. right? So let's see. I'm already writing an awful lot of code here to satisfy my simple little test. I'm failing TDD, but I'm gonna keep pushing here. So let's take the values, and that returns an iterator. This always confuses me. I think, what do I use? There's an array function that lets me convert that to something that I can run functional. I'm declaring the map in the wrong place. I think for that individual ID, I want to do this thing, but I think you're right. The thing that I'm getting in is, yeah. If I do this, boy, I gotta keep track of my scoping here, huh? All right, and then I need Stack Overflow, yes. I usually do pretty good with the MDN docs, and the thing that is my favorite thing about it is getting down into when they actually start to give you info about, oh my gosh, this is huge. There it is. This stuff. When can we use it? What versions is this actually supported inside, you know? And this is awesome. This is just gold to me. Well, this got browser compatibility as well. And oh, look, Internet Explorer doesn't support anything. But yeah, I really value this part of MDN. I often find myself in weird situations where it's like, I thought Array had this on it. It's like, oh, nope, not in this version. Only using Node is a good solution to that. Absolutely. Okay, I'm sidetracked again. Stay on target. I want to, oh, that's right. I was looking at Array so that I could figure out, is it from where I can give it an iterator? Oh, hi, Lumi. Lumi1337. Cool. Hello. Yeah, you know what? var is an old habit, right? I don't even know why. Array from takes an iterator. Yeah. So let's see. Ultimately, I want the values out of the map. And so if I do array from, old habits do absolutely die hard. And the more you've been in this, the more old habits I seem to drag along behind me. Okay, so that should give me an array that I can pull something functional across, and I could say filter the things in this array. Hang on, am I doing this in the wrong spot too? Filter the things in the array. Is that going to be an ID? No. This is going to be a count, where I want yeah. I think if we turn to an iterator. Yes. Yes. this being iterable versus iterator being the way that it behaves versus the thing that it is. I like that distinction. It's an important distinction. It's a distinction that can lead to much head scratching. Let's see. So but this sounds weird, doesn't it? I'm filtering on 2s. So show me all the 2s and tell me how many there were. Well, here I could just say, here has 2 is the result of that being greater than 0. And then I don't need the initializer for that up above, right? And then honestly, you know, I could probably just inline that. Although that's quite an awkward statement, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know if any of this is even close to working. Let's spin the wheel. Kaboom! S.reduce is not a function. What? What did I do? Semi-unique. Oh, length? Yeah, that probably. Oh, yes, the joy of being a polyglot. I spent a lot of time during the day looking at .NET stuff. So the thing that I'm handing into unique clearly does not appear to be... Oh, yeah, no, of course it's not. It's not an array. It's a single character. No, it's not. ID. It is an array. Ha. Let's pull that out first, shall we? You know, I suppose I don't need to do that. I could just say unique of the array. I don't trust that test passing. Should I trust that test passing? I don't know. It's passing. I should make a test that fails and then prove that it's passing for the right reason. So, should not identify 2 with 3 identical entries. That sounds like a shorter way to say the same thing I'm saying above. So I would expect that 2s for A would be false. And that's working too. Okay, I may have got this. Working a lot with Scala. I never got too much into Scala, and then a lot of the folks that I know that got into Scala are now more into Clojure. Well, no, I shouldn't even say that. Some of them are. I just tend to be closer to the folks that are more into Clojure than the folks that are still into Scala. Yeah. All languages are ultimately difficult to express oneself in, just in different ways, huh? Interesting way to say that. Okay, so I have a function that identifies 2s, and you know, I would bet that it's going to be pretty easy to say out of this 2s function, now I can use that in something that says describe count twos in a list of IDs. So it should it should count 0. All right, you know what? Let's go for the gold here. It should count. Yeah, you know what? I've heard the same thing about Scala. And the folks that like what they like have good reasons for liking it, and a use case that fits it. I am curious about the same thing though too. Is that open in terms of its spec being built out in the open? Or extensible? What do you mean by that? Yeah. I think something that JavaScript developers got used to doing. Well, maybe not got used to doing, I shouldn't even say that, but Babel's a pretty cool thing. I haven't built anything with it, but I love the way that it's being used right now. I'm going to try and stay on target. It's easy to get distracted by discussion. Okay, it should count. I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but let me see if I can quickly bang this out. So expect that 2, okay, I'm going to prototype this inside. We're going to have IDs to be, let's see, A, B, B, so let's do it this way. A, B, B, C, split that into an array, build an array of things, add a second one, you know, this is a pretty simple test case. I would expect that so if the count becomes IDs filtered by the result of the twos function, that count here should be 1. Does that pass? No. Oh, I got an array back? Oh, not I need the length of that. That looks like it's going to fail as well. Got a 0. I'm curious what I'm getting here. Filter twos. I mean, the twos function returns a Boolean when provided an array of here we go. filter the IDs. Still not what I'm expecting though. Yeah, and effectively I just made the same call, didn't I? Let's see, this is feeling like it's in my way a little bit. Now this is getting me confused. I mean, this is telling me that it's not matching, I think. I just want to really quickly do a thing. I know my names here are terrible, but A, B, B, C, and split that on nothing. I expect that to be true. Let's comment that out for a second. I got false. I am broken. Creating a jagged array in IDs. Interesting term. I'm unfamiliar. Print the twos instead of returning true or false. Yeah, do you mean as a debugging technique? I guess I was thinking of this here. It's almost like I have something that produces the count. Debugging for Friday nights. Oh boy. Yeah, the count from the map. It's almost like, what does what does this look like? What happens if I yeah, debugging with console log. Indeed, yes. So I'm wondering what happens. I can't console log a map. Is that going to give me any kind of useful output? Oh, maybe it will. Oops. Oops. Yeah, that's not going to do what I want. A is 4, B is 4, C is 4. Well, that sure looks like a fail, doesn't it? Yeah, I could attach a debugger. I don't spend a whole lot of time trying to do that because often I end up in these places where I fall down the rabbit hole of trying to set up the debugger and then I actually don't get the work done. Let's see, I am clearly failing somewhere here. You know, it's almost like for the character C, I have some value. Yeah, they're incrementing the same. I clearly have a logic bug, and I am not seeing it. Y'all see how those are all going up. And, oh, I suppose maybe I should do this in my comparison, folks. If the ID is the same as the character, then we're going to do this stuff. Otherwise, I don't want to do this stuff. This should be a little better. Hey, yeah, okay. Yeah, what are these variables? Because ID isn't actually an ID anymore. This is like the outer character, or the ID character, and the unique character. Because I'm just walking the ID and unique characters and looking for matches. And I think now, if I pull out these logs, I think I'm good. My maps should be, yeah, and I got 2 B's, 1 A, 1 C, and I'm good to go. These puzzles are from Advent of Code. There's a new puzzle for every day of Advent. I jumped way back on to day 1. I suppose I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I'm watching Finkel do the doing the future. Okay, so let me step back into where I was here. Does this actually, the thing that I commented out, this describe, does this actually work now? I expect that it would. Yeah, let's get rid of that console log for the map. That was really handy that I could log the map out that way. And so it can count 2's correctly. It counted a 2, it did the thing. You know, I suppose we could toss in a 3. And, you know, I'm assuming that this still counts as a 2. As matching for a 2. So now the count would go up to 2, yes. Let's watch it fail. Yeah, and it got a 2. All right, so now let's make this a little bit more generic. And so my 2's ought to be able to count for anything. So let's call this like quantity check. And it's going to take an array, and let's also pass it the quantity that we're looking for. Then I can pass this in to the filtery thing, and now whenever I call it, these are all quantity 2 checks. Actually, hang on, let me, oh, I suppose I could refactor this. The other option is I could just say default value is 2. Less typing, perhaps less confusing, or perhaps more confusing. I don't know, we'll see. Oops, wow, caps lock. Stop yelling. Okay, going to quantities. Here, I'm gonna expressly check the quantity check I'm using that in a filter. I didn't get a hand into two things for me, so I could say each thing coming in, I want to do a quantity check on the thing for 2. That ought to still be good. Oh, I forgot. I should be doing this, shouldn't I? There we go. Okay. So now I should be able to count, say, 3s correctly. And I don't see a good reason why that would not work. You know what? Let's use the same array there, because I did put a 3 in it. Ah, nice. Syntax errors are bad for code formatters. Copy-paste errors. Let's see. I should have a 1. Hang on, wait. I'm looking for 3s, and I should have 1 of them. And I do. Okay. So this count function here, what if I pull that out? Aren't they so satisfying? I love them. Green chests make me happy. I spend so much time in my day life helping teams that now don't have any tests. On legacy code, fun. Or they thought they had tests, and then we talk about how they actually weren't tests. That's another fun one. Okay. So that becomes this. You know what? I'm just going to pull this out like this. And really could go here, but honestly, there's no good reason for that to be like that. And now don't care about that. All I have to do is, yeah, I suppose I should give it the IDs too, huh? That's going to be important. Did I extract that well? It sounds familiar. Life of a technical practices coach. So that means that I should be able to do something really simple here, like count of IDs and 2. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes. Well, how about we make this the variable rather than hard coding the 2. Wait a sec. Still not using the ID. You see how automatic that is for me? My gosh. Okay, so I can count the things of both types, and that kind of means, but I've ever made a mess here, eh? I got all this stuff all over the place. I mean, I got my little extractions kind of hanging out there, and they're so spread out by the describes that I lose track of what I'm actually trying to do up here. So hang on, let me define you before I define you. Did I break anything? No, still working. And now, if I actually want to do the thing, I am going to say, give me the sorted stuff. Don't care about this anymore. let's say let 2s be the count of the sorted IDs. Did I get all my interfacing right there? I'm not sure strictly that I did. For 2. And 3s, the count of my sorted IDs for 3. I don't think I really needed to sort these up here. I feel like burying that inside, but this isn't really code that will survive. I'm just puzzle solving, huh? So Stacy, relax. Okay. Console log 2s and 3s. What do I get out of the thing? Oh yeah, and this is like a main function. So probably don't really want to do it this way. Main should main. I mean, look at this, how appeasing this. They shouldn't even have that in the same file. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder for that to work. Let's see. I suppose I'm going to want to adjust this. I stuck that up in a utility function that's see. Main should main 247 and 31. Does that mean the answer is pending here? Let's pop back. At the end of main, logging 2s and 3s, and the multiplication of the 2, and perhaps this is the answer. Ah, we got it. Excellent. 1 gold star closer. Aha, this is a 2-parter. Let's see. Oh, thanks for that. Okay, they're all 2 parts. Oh, good to know. I guess that makes sense if you have the capacity of 50 stars. I guess that makes sense. Yes, sometimes I can do simple arithmetic. That's why I keep a computer around, right? Oh, that's good to know. Sometimes part 2 is easy, sometimes it's hard. Because so far, well, in 1, 2 is harder than 1. Let's see what we do here. So confident that our list of box IDs is complete, we're ready to find the boxes full of prototype fabric. We'll have IDs which differ by exactly 1 character at the same position in both strings. Oh, this looks like a totally different kind of algorithm. So given that these are the IDs, they differ by 2 characters, 2nd and 4th. And the IDs differ 1 character, the 3rd. What letters are common between the 2 correct box IDs? I should think out loud, but I'm having trouble. So it's saying what letters are common between the two correct box IDs. So what are the correct box IDs? Those must be the correct boxes. They differ by exactly one character at the same position. So this differs by 2 characters, so it cannot be a correct box. But these differ by 1 position, therefore they are correct boxes. So this is and this is out of a sample set of 7 boxes that are very different. Okay. Ooh, closing PRs in the meantime. Yikes, I couldn't multitask like that. I don't know. Let's see. Well, actually, you solved this ages ago. That's okay. Thanks for the moral support. Okay. I'm still getting lost exactly in how I want to do this. I have to find, out of all possible combinations of IDs, which of those combinations differ by exactly 1 character. And that should give me a list of the same boxes. Okay, well that... It's funny, the spec that I've ended up building up here now ends up feeling like a lot of noise to me. Let me, let's see. Let's pull some things in. This is going to be very different, but that gives me my data. Now, let's start from the sample data. Actually, let's it's an array of these strings. I'll do this, yes. Oops. And arrange that up there. Let's see. Differ by a single character. It's almost like I have another double loop, huh? If I have because I have to compare each one to each other one. You know what? It feels like I'm bubble sorting here. Feels like I'm doing more things than I should have to, but I'm going to solve it the simple way first. So I'm going to look at, just going to try to keep these two variables straight, and then I've got an outer and an inner. And now I need an algorithm that will tell me that they vary by exactly one character, because that's the only thing that fits, right? Exactly one character. And then, you know, I kind of have some candidates. And, you know, if the off by one. How do I push two? I want to push both at the same time. Append. Append. Is that going to build me a new one? Ooh. Let's do a quick check here. Oh, maybe it's not append. Oh, that's array from. Step back up. Concat. Does not change the existing arrays and instead returns a new array. I'm still going to want to let's pull out set semantics, shall we? Let's just say if they're off by one, then make sure that the set contains the outer and that the set contains the inner. And off by one is a function that doesn't exist yet. Do nothing with it for now. Okay, this sounds like a plan. When that is done, then what does the puzzle need from me? The puzzle needs what letters are common between the two correct box IDs. There ought to be only two. Yeah, I think that's kind of just where I was at. If there is truly only one pair, then inner and outer are exactly them, right? Maybe I'm coding a little defensively here, just thinking that, hey, what if there's more than one? What if I got bad data? But let's see if I just say found them. That'll tell me what they are, yeah? And it being already 10 to 10 and me needing to sleep tonight and drive for 12 hours tomorrow, then I'm going to see if I can get this done quicker. Let's see. Let's see if I can test drive this function out. There seems to be some possible logic here. I don't know, a simple case might be just that expect off by 1 of A and B. Oh, that's an array. To be true, right? And now this has to take A and B. Let's just say, oh, not to be confused with A and B. And if I'll make that pass. That's probably not what I'm looking for. Let's see. It's going to run all the tests, and I probably don't want that. Let's adjust my run. Let's just not run everything. Let's run 1. And we're just going to run part 2 here. It's true. If they're identical, then they're not off by 1. Good call. Oh, that whole true and false thing. Always mixing those up. Okay. Let's see. So then, you know, I really would expect off by 1. Probably shouldn't load more than 1 expects in a single thing here, but I already know I'm not going to be clean. And that's pretty clearly going to be false, right? No, it's not going to be false. A is not equal to B. Wait a tick. I'm missing something. Return A is not equal to A. That is it's just going to confuse me. So when A is not equal to B, then this should be true, and when A is not equal to A, then this should be... Wait a sec. A particular reason I'm using for each? Not really. Back to the old habits thing. I mean, I could use classic for loops. For of, is that another for structure that I'm not familiar with in JavaScript land? Yeah, why am I wrapping the params in array? That's kind of just where I was. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And that might clean up my test. Yeah. Yeah. For of is for iterators. Ah. You know, that's gonna, that little tidbit is probably gonna save me a whole lot of pain like I did in the last one where I was doing the array from because I had an iterator and I probably didn't have to. Thanks for that. Okay. So yeah, this certainly is not finished. It should work for 2-character strings. You know, this is maybe yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and that's Yes, that's right. That's why I was trying to get it into it. I like the functional constructs. I don't know why. Perhaps a lot of it is that I've been exploring different functional languages, toying a bit with Elixir. My current client is doing a lot with Clojure, and I find it hard to context switch between the two programming paradigms, and so I find I like to kind of swing into one, and then it biases how I treat the others. Yeah, for each isn't really a functional thing, right? It's exactly it. I'm mutating something outside, so I am absolutely, I get that. I get that. It's not like I'm mapping, it's not like I'm, filtering. Anyways, I'm gonna try to stay on this. I could, when I get back up there, I'll tinker with my for loop and apply that, I think. Okay, so work for two character strings. I would expect off by one of A and A B to be true. True. Okay. And that is going to be, you know what? I think I can force a better test here, because that's going to accidentally pass. But if this had two differences, then it should not pass. Yeah, can't break from a for each. Yeah. Yeah, I don't often break. That's another thing that it's a shift in the way I've been coding. Okay, so now within off by one, hang on, let me move this a little closer to my tests. If we're scanning for diffs, and I'm going to scan across the two at this. Oh, what if they're different lengths? I'm not going to handle that. I looked in the file, they're all the same length. Let's assume they're going to be the same length. Stop defensive coding. It will take me much longer. Let's see. So if I do a traditional for loop, and then I compare each of these one at a time. If, oh, hang on, can I do array semantics with a string? Yes, okay, good. And I'm looking for one different character. Looks okay. So now, this might actually function. Now I'm not recording here the the character that is Hang on, reviewing the requirements. Exactly one character. What letters are common between the two correct box IDs? Yeah, okay. Yes, I want the union set. That's correct, right? So I could probably just build it here. If I build it here, then I'm not just returning a Boolean. But this is a... Yeah, I totally could. Okay, let's do the brute force thing. I got two strings here. I got outer and inner, and I want to know the common characters between the two of them. And it's going to start with. Let's build this up as an array, and then. It's kind of like the inversion of this, right? Yeah. Doesn't matter which one I choose. This code's getting messy. Oh, nothing's calling main. I suppose I ought to call main. If I run this way, I'm just going to have to do another silly describe thing. Where's the test output? Oops. All right, that's from the test data. FGIJ, is that what they got in the example? It is indeed. All right, let's try it with the real data set. Okay, so our sample data is now going to become this. Don't need that candidates at all. And that's going to be my output. That's the first, that's the second. That might even be the answer. Huzzah! We win! Okay, and I'm going on day 2. This is excellent. And it's 10 o'clock. I get some sleep. Okay. Oh my gosh. Thanks everybody for coming in. Loved the conversation. Oh yeah, I never tried that loop. Hang on. Before I let this go, let me do a new thing today. The new thing that I want to do is the style of the 4. So, hang on. Do I have anything that does this anymore? No. Yes, here. So if I said for let outer of sample data and then this becomes for let inner of sample data. And that gives me a thing. Oh, these are not needed anymore. And it should still do the thing. And it does. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm not changing these at all, eh? Just harden that. All right. The const stays the same in the scopes. And all is still happy. Excellent. Okay. Now I'm really done. Thanks everybody for coming. I will catch you. I'm not sure when. I'm driving home tomorrow and back up to Canada. And it's going to be a long drive. And then I'm going to get my studio cleaned up a little bit more, and I ought to be able to resume streaming next week because I'm really anxious to pull some of this up, and I'm going to see if I can get my daughter into this as well. She might enjoy it, she might not, but we'll see how that goes too. I think about a linear solution. Yes, and see, I'm going to look up your stream and I'm going to watch that because I too enjoy watching how other people solve things. Awesome. Thanks everyone. I will catch you next time.